like to call this meeting of the Buckeye Local Schools Board of Education to order. This is Tuesday, December 10th. We are a little late tonight, 7 minutes after 7. Roll call, please.
Barco?
Here.
Someone?
Here.
Anthony?
Here.
Roberti?
Here.
Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The mission of the Buckeye Local School District is to empower students to excel in a highly competitive society. Meeting agenda statement. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Approval of minutes. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the minutes for the regular meeting of November 19th, 2019, and the special meetings of November 4th and November 25th, 2019. A motion, please. Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Anthony?
Yes.
Roberti? Yes. Paul?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes.
Yes. Following our recommendations that have been identified for approval as part of the consent agenda for this meeting, if a board member wishes to remove any item from this agenda for further discussion prior to taking action, please let either the superintendent or board president know. Approval of consent agenda. I recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the consent agenda of December 10th, 2019 as presented. A motion, please. So moved. A second.
Second.
Any questions or comments on that consent agenda? Roll call.
Roberti?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Morgan, your special guest.
Yes, thank you. We have a number of special recognitions this evening. We'd like to get started with our Buckeye Students of the Month, if our administrators could come forward. And we're actually up on the stage today, so if you could come on up here and get center stage, that'd be great.
It is our pleasure to introduce Eddie Nightenbaugh as the Junior High Student of the Month for December. Eddie is presently in the 8th grade and is taking advanced classes in both language arts and algebra. He is an excellent student whose favorite subjects are math and science, closely followed by the history department, the nominating department. To Eddie's teachers, he is someone who is inquisitive and knows much more about the world around him. That is in part because he says it's cool to learn new things, and even says he enjoys reading just for the purpose of gaining knowledge. Eddie has been long a part of the Buckeye Wrestling program, enjoys weightlifting as well, and is recognized as one of the premier wrestlers on the Buckeye team. As a matter of fact, just this past weekend, Eddie went 5-0 in a tournament. Being an aerospace engineer is a career goal of Eddie's. He loves anything to do with space and rocket ships and planes, and would love to go into space someday. His college ambition is to attend Penn State University for 2 reasons: to study aerospace engineering, and to fulfill the goal of winning a world championship in wrestling. For all who know Eddie, he is very respectful, thoughtful young man with a sense of humor who brings a positive attitude to everything he does. His faith in God and the guidance he gets from his parents are what says inspired him. We at the junior high couldn't be more proud of Eddie, who is the complete package, and that is why he is our student of the month.
And Mrs. Schrader had this to say about Thomas. There are many reasons Thomas Carrington is chosen to be student of the month. Thomas sets a good example and is a role model for other students. He's a hard worker, and it shows by him achieving high academic marks. He's very helpful in the classroom, not only with his teachers, but with his peers as well. Thomas is always found following the Buckeye basics and all studies in the school, and he's one of the nicest and most courteous, respectful students to peers and adults. And I have to say, I've really enjoyed getting to know Thomas over the years, and he is just blossomed academically. His reading is taking off. And I know this is going to come as a surprise to everybody. He really enjoys, what's that sport you love playing so much?
Well, basketball.
There's a shot. Also, I think he's going to golfer too, right?
Thanks.
Okay. Congratulations.
Good evening, I'm Mr. Flood. I'm the principal of Buckeye High School, and with me this evening, I have two students of the month. I have Ashlyn Kelly and Alex Hunt. In regards of Ashlyn, Ashlyn is ranked 26th out of 203 students here at the high school. She wants to go into neuroscience and become a neurologist or a neurosurgeon. She volunteers at the Cleveland Clinic Hospital and also does Reefs Across America. She's a member of the Student Council as well as the Civil Air Patrol, where she's a non-commissioned officer and a class instructor. She works at Panera. Not only does she work at Panera, but she still finds time to be involved in cross country and track. She's lettered in cross country and track, as well as has her academic letter. And in 2017, she earned the Wright Brothers Award. Ashlyn Kelly. And next with me is Alex Hunt. Alex wants to possibly pursue software engineering. He often thinks about coding, and one of the places he's thinking about pursuing right now is possibly going to the Career Center, but in the future he's thinking about going to Ohio State. When I brought Alex down today to talk to him a little bit about himself, because when he filled out everything about him, nothing really was about him. It was everything about his family and all the things that he possibly would want to do in life. Dad, he couldn't have been more proud of you. Dad recently retired, 27 years in the military, proud of his brother and sister. Honestly though, that's what made it just remarkable. When I was talking to Alex today, everything was about everybody else. When I talked to his teachers, they said Alex always has a kind word to say about everybody else. They said Alex always has a smile on his face. Mrs. Inman said, I ate fish, and there was one time I didn't know what to do with them, and Alex knew what to do with them and took care of them. Alex he lives on a farm, he takes care of his animals, but at the end of the conversation, I know in a generation that we're growing up and we look to sometimes our grandparents to bring in all the memories. That's the one thing I said to him. I said, Alex, what's your favorite class? And he said, U.S. History, because he loves the mid-20s to the mid-40s. And he said the time that he loves the most is when he spent with his grandparents, learning about his grandparents and learning about the upbringing that they had, which instilled upon him. Alex Hunt.
Hey, Alex, look over here.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to announce our Buckeye Intermediate Student of the Month, and that's Nancy Bodak from our 4th grade, and her English was welcome to say about me. It is my pleasure to have nominated Nancy Bodak for the Intermediate School Student of the Month. Macy excels academically and has a passion for learning. She is a true leader and role model for all students at Buckeye Intermediate. She is always willing to lend a helping hand to anyone in need. Macy shows respect, responsibility, and problem solve on a daily basis. I cannot think of a more deserving student for this award. Congratulations, Macy.
Tonight we have a very special recognition, and this recognition is for Dennis Matson, who will be leaving us as a board member after 12 years of service. Dennis, come on up. So we have this plaque in recognition of his service to Buckeye Schools. 12 years is a long time to be serving on Board of Education. It's not really the fun job that you look for, but it is a very, very important job. And Dennis has done a lot for the Buckeye community. So we are so proud that he's done this. We will certainly miss him, but he will be continuing his service on the Medina County Career Center. Ms. Morgan.
Just want to again thank you for all your time and coming to the Buckeye community. Wish you the best of luck. I'm sure this will not be the last time we see you in the Buckeye schools. But wish you the best of luck as you continue and we still look forward to your reports on the person.
Thank you very much. I'm kind of shocked and speechless. I was not expecting this, but tonight's going to be a quick meeting to be done. Like Barb said, it never ends. We have another meeting yet this month, just so we'll keep going. But thank you. I got lots of well wishes and thank you from people in the community. It speaks to who we are at Buckeye. And my family, my friends, I've always told my kids, you're judged by the company you keep and your friends. And I'm truly a blessed person. Friends who come out here tonight to see me off at the last meeting. I'm a rich man for that. My family supporting me. How many times walking back and forth in the driveway after a meeting, pacing on the phone. We had meetings that we started some days at 6 o'clock in the evening and went to the next morning. People didn't believe we had a 2-day meeting. So we've had our fun. But thank you very much. We've got great board members. We've got Rob and Agnes coming on board. Good people. Buckeye survives. Buckeye's a great place to be. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate every one of you. I've always tried to do my best in this community. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We do have some drinks down here that we'll take a little break. all have a treat. We don't want to send all that food home with parents. So please help yourself.
For Mrs. Kohler, helping us out as well as she did the primary. I want to introduce our group that I have here this evening. Part of them are the committee that helped out, and then I have 3 of our very own students that are going to share their experience from that that was placed in November. So I have Mrs. King, I have Miss Brooks, Mrs. Abraham, Dorinda Hartshorn, our 6th grader, Nora Wupter, 4th grade, Jillian Kohler, 5th grade, and Mrs. Smith, 4th grade. And this is our committee of teachers from our building. That picture on the right is our cafeteria. They participated and decorated the cafeteria, so that was awesome. Thank you, Gail, for helping us out. And then my ladies in the office, Miss Moore and Mrs. Camuzzi, helped myself out, and we were the Oompa Loompas in the school for our kickoff that day. And I will let the rest of our teachers and students take it away.
Well, the beauty of One School, One Book is that the whole school read the same book together. So a lot went on behind the scenes before we could make this happen, a lot of work. We started planning last spring, and we formed our committee, and we researched to see what book we should do, and we read a lot of books, and we finally settled on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, a classic. We got $3,000 from the foundation, the Buckeye Foundation, to buy the books. And the PTO gave us $500 to buy prizes and gifts. We divided and conquered from there. We made smaller committees to plan the assembly, solicit businesses to participate and donate. We made packets, a calendar. Every teacher at the school, I think almost every teacher, did an audio recording of a chapter so the kids could listen to it if they didn't want to just read it or they wanted to hear it. And we also wrapped 650 books. So in foil with a sticker on it, and so that they could have them for their assembly to open and maybe find a golden ticket.
So on the morning of the assembly, now the students don't know anything. On the morning of the assembly, they were given this book right here. It says, special delivery, do not delay, open right away. And they were given these and told, don't do anything with these until we get down to the gym, which you think would be pretty easy, but of course they're all kind of, you can see them picking. So as we're walking down to the gym, it was pretty cool because I knew what was gonna happen, but they're walking down the hall and Mr. Peel has his ukulele and he's playing the Candyman can. And even knowing this was going to happen as an adult, I got chills and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So we go into the gym and Mrs. Davison welcomes everyone and then introduces our guest, who happens to be Mr. Wonka himself. And of course he comes out and the students were all, oh my gosh, this is great. So he counted us all down, and when he got to 1, everyone was allowed to open up their book. But when they opened up their book, they had these legit awesome golden tickets that if they found, they were to come to the top of the gym. So they opened up the books and we had 45 students who won the golden tickets. So when they came to the front of the gymnasium, we separated them into, we dispersed them into 9 different 1 minute to win it games, so that they could get their chance to win an even greater prize than they already had won. So the first game was, of course, the edible wallpaper, to see who could get the most candy off the edible wallpaper. Then, of course, there was a lollipop where they had to put gloves on and try to open up this lollipop. And it wasn't like a dum-dum, it was the ones that were wrapped really tight. And then we had the blueberry toss where they had to try to keep the blooms in the air, the blueberries in the air. We had the marshmallow wrap where each team member would wrap somebody to see who wrapped the best marshmallow. And then, of course, going along with the marshmallow theme, we had people have straws and they had to try to suck one marshmallow from one bowl into the other. We had the gumdrop stack, which you were stacking the cups by color. And then we had the cocoa bean toss. So we had little footballs that were cocoa beans and they tossed them in the chocolate face. So they would put a candy bar here and they would try to wiggle it down to their mouth. And then we had this one was difficult because I eat sushi quite a bit, and so you had to take chopsticks and take the golden point and get it from point A to point B. And so from there was winners for each one. So it was just being able to see everything that we worked on and our vision kind of come alive with that. It was absolutely amazing.
I wanted to add one quick note. Mrs. Duttrick's son, who is a Buckeye alum, made these tickets for us for free. So I just wanted to add that little plug for him because it is one of our former students here. At this time, we have our student participation, and Nora and Jillian and Loris are going to share their experiences with you. So Nora, do you want to start us off?
Hi, my name is Summer Wolfer. I'm from Ramsey 4th grade class. I thought this One School One Book was a great experience because it gave us enough time to just sit down and read a book with our family and not have to worry about anything else. And also, it was nice having the business tickets because like we got to go to Cool Beans and Circles on the Square and stuff like that, and we get like golden tickets. One other thing, I'm used to people getting excited about video games or movies, and it was nice to see people get just as excited about a book. I think it was a great experience, and also my brother got a golden ticket, so I got to go with him, and I did the taking off the crap from the books there. Really hard.
Hi, my name is Jillian Fuller. I'm in 5th grade. I'm Miss Bowles, Miss Patrick, and Miss Palmero. They're all very great teachers. I'm here to talk about my experience with Willy Wonka. I love the kickoff assembly where we were able to unwrap our Wonka books, then 45 golden ticket winners. If you got one, you could go to a Nancy winner. I didn't win a golden ticket, but you could read every night 2 chapters and turn in the trivia, and you could win off the prize card, which was filled with candy and smell markers. My favorite, the Willy Wonka prize. Then you could also win by going to sweet shops around the diner to find the golden ticket. Movie night was very fun. We watched the old Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It was very good. It was a good way to end the One School One Book program. Thank you. Hi, my name is I'm in Miss Abraham's class. I like the book on the Chocolate Factory because I read it every night in my room. I answered the trivia question and turned it in every morning. I won a prize, and I also thought the book was genius, so
Well, girls were a nice segue into the next part. So like they said, we did get support from community or businesses in the community, so they're all listed up there. So kids could go different places around Medina, some in Brunswick, and look for golden tickets. And if they got a golden ticket, they got to bring a ticket back to school and enter it in for a prize the next day. So that was really great, and we had a lot of kids do that. They could broadcast this through social media, so they could post pictures on our Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, showing us where they were. And then also on our social media, we just posted winners for the day, and we posted different tidbits of information, so the audio link and pictures from the assembly, things like that. So it was great to have student and parents inputting on social media as well. And then every day we had trivia winners. So winners could win by reading and answer a trivia question or through getting a ticket at a business. Those were announced every day at the end of the day, and then kids got to come down. And we had the prize card, like Mrs. Abraham said, full of candy and squishies and scented stickers and anything kids could want. So all of it was awesome.
Okay, well, we had a really sweet ending to the whole One School, One Book. We had a dessert party in which all the kids who entered trivia questions or were golden ticket entries, we put those all together and drew names for over 20 kids to come to this dessert party. And we had a sign-up genius, and our staff signed up and brought these amazing desserts. And if you can see that cake, that's a Wonka-fied cake right there that one of our staff members baked and decorated, and I had a couple of students in my homeroom who attended, and they came back. There were so many desserts, and we had to have anything that mattered, and I don't know if their parents were really happy when they came home that day, but it really felt magical to them, like they had entered the chocolate room, in the movie, or in the book, so it was a fantastic way to end it. And I also just wanted to say, a lot of our staff members too, I know I did this in my own classroom to encourage them to read in 6th grade. I would do my own daily trivia question that was separate from the school. So I had a winner in my class every day as well. So I know a lot of our staff members did that to kind of keep the interest going. So.
And lastly, we did have a movie night to culminate our whole 3 weeks of reading the story, and we had over 150 families attend that evening. We provided popcorn and water and said, bring your sleeping bags, pillows, chairs, snacks of your own. And we did have a really fun Friday night from 7 to 9 and watched the movie. The parents were super excited that it was the old version we were watching. I know that. And I wanted to also really quick say that our own Mr. Willy Wonka that did come to the assembly was our own Mr. Strodak, dressed up as Wonka. So it was a really cool experience. So we're looking to do it probably once every 3 years, so at least going through the intermediate, they've had that experience in our building. So thank you for all the support, and that's all we have. We do have golden tickets and shorts for all of you. Thank you.
Good job. Our next presentation is Gail Luther with Buckeye Food Service.
Gail Luther, the food service director for Buckeye Local Schools. Thank you, Mr. Nixon, for all your time on the board. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your support over the years. Right now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about food service and things that have been going on. Right here is our benefit sheet, our year-to-date and our monthly benefits for the high school, junior high, elementary, and vending. Then we have our salaries that are year-to-date by schools again. At the high school, we have 5 cooks, the junior high we have 2, the elementary 4, and for vending, we just have 1 person. And that shows your yearly and then monthly cost for the district. I've been working with the high school groups. The high school students reached out to us and said they wanted some new ideas. And so there came a question about the pizza that we were offering, and they didn't really like the choices that we were having. So there was popular, and so the kids decided that they thought it would be a good idea to take this petition to their teacher and go through the process of, so we decided the government class would be a good place for this to happen. And so I worked with the government class and explained the National School Lunch Program and the regulations that, we were brought in, that I have to work with. And I handed out menus to the students, we went over them. We ended up bringing in different samples from different companies of pizzas and stuff for the kids to sample. And so they also had the opportunity to write menus that we're going to feature in January. And then it all ended up into a nice movie for the district. But the kicker of it is the teacher that they had to work with, who was going kind of like, at me, was my son. So I had to work with my son's classroom. So that was pretty funny to work with, but it worked out really well. We have meals per labor hour. That kind of tells us how many meals we should do per labor hour. That tells us how we should compare our staffing and how we do our productivity. And right now, we're doing about 10 meals per labor hour at the high school, 15 or 16 at the junior high, and 22 at the elementary. And the target number is 14 to 18. And these are based on October figures, and you can see that our high school is at 9.89. And that's one of the reasons I met with the high school, was to bring up some different menu items. And we also did our survey online. And one of the things with the survey online was a real interest in a vegetarian menu at the high school. So in January, we'll be rolling out a vegetarian menu, along with other changes that hopefully will increase our counts. The types of food that we serve, we receive USDA foods in addition to cash reimbursements. USDA foods is where the Department of Agriculture goes out, works with the farmers and buys the surplus of stuff, comes in, and then they process it and they can turn around and sell it to the schools at local market value prices. And right now, we do get a federal reimbursement every month, and it's usually $25,000 on up. And so far, year to date, we've gotten $49,000. Buckeyes National School Lunch meets the nutrition standards in the state law, and these are decisions that are specific foods served and methods of preparation are made by the local food authorities, along with our board policy 8500, which we do follow. In addition to cash reimbursements, schools also use the USDA foods, and we talk about that and how the surplus comes from the agriculture, and that years back we had, they would offer us 50 pounds of butter. Now we don't get that, but that would be one example. And that's all I have. And so that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the treasurer's report.
Recommended the Buckeye Board of Education purchases of attendance with non-internal budget items on the business line. Happy to launch the second board member remember those. A, authorized payment recommended the Buckeye Board of Education approve the submitted invoice for Deputy Williams for diagnostic software purchased by the district. The detailed explanation copy of that attached to the and lastly, adoption of the new star rating system recommending the Buckeye Board of Education recognize and adhere to the best practices outlined in the star rating system. A copy of the outer state bulletin has been provided to the board.
I'll entertain a motion. Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
All I have, thank Jeff for getting this restart. And like I said, message got the early stuff. Good idea.
Roll call, please.
Dahl?
Yes.
Gilberto?
Yes.
Yes.
Sarko?
Yes.
Plummer?
Yes. Public participation. The public is invited to speak to any of the agenda items and other school topics. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Direct questions will not be answered by the Board of Education members at this time. However, answers will be given at a later date as appropriate. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board this evening?
I do. Elizabeth Hassel, math teacher at the junior high and president of the Buckeye Teachers Union. I have some things to share, and stop me at 3 minutes. I wasn't here last meeting, so I have a couple extras. I have been told that the primary teachers are all, they've embraced social emotional wellness to address the whole child. They're using sensory tools, calming corners, flexible seating, and teaching self-regulation zones. Kudos to them. I've also been told that the entire 4th grade staff has been incredibly kind and supportive through Andrew's first semester. He is on a job share teaching contract for a 4th grade position. It's been shared with me that one of our junior high science teachers and her classes are cleaning up the land lab so it can be used again. We have a portion of land that's dedicated there, and it's just kind of fallen by the wayside. So they've put a lot of work and time into that. I've been told that the BOE teacher and his students, and this was for last meeting, so maybe this has happened already, which is really awesome. They're making mazes for a 6th grade teacher's students. I'm not sure if that's done already, but if they're in the process of doing that or it's done. The American Federation of Teachers and the Ohio Federation of Teachers have a first book grants that were available, And we had at least 5 teachers apply and receive $500 worth of book grants for their classroom. We also have a high school teacher, Dave Parrish, that has spent an enormous amount of his own time coordinating multiple trips to Westfield companies to bring donated furniture back for our schools and staff and teachers who would like that. I also want to mention we are currently participating in the OTES pilot this year. That's our new teacher observation system. Last year we had Christina Collins and a group of teachers from the intermediate school participate in the prototype. This year we are participating in the pilot. I am one of the teachers who are involved in the training portion. We have 3 trainings. And I want to give kudos to all the work that went in last year. Because of all that work, it is making the pilot system much easier this year, and the transition is tremendous. If they hadn't put all that work in last year, it would have been a struggle. So that's what I do.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Anyone else? Yes.
Tracy Matter, New York Township. Good evening, and I think it's an appropriate occasion. I'd like to state for the record that on this particular honoring of Mr. Mattson, I think it's important for people in this community to appreciate what you all do in service to this community on the board. You see the meetings, the regular meetings, you see the videos. You don't see the time, passion, and commitment these people put in day in and day out, and they did not take this position and seek this position for the high pay and the glory. And if you can live with the fact that whatever decision you make, 50% plus 1 or 50% minus 1 is or is not going to like your decision, you can handle it. But I think it's, I want to make sure that people understand the time and commitment. Mr. Mattson hit on it earlier. You do sacrifice family time. You sacrifice a lot of personal time. You sacrifice your own business time in service to this district. And I think it's important we thank all of you. As far as Mr. Mattson, I just want to say for the record, we actually first met when we happened to be running for the same board seat. And I kind of felt bad, because I'm thinking, this is a smart guy, maybe I'll get out of this. But I've had the honor of serving with most of these people that are sitting up there. And it is a thankless task, and you all do a great job. Mr. Mattson, I forewarned Mr. Vanaga, because I was thinking here a little while ago, when I looked at you, and I looked at myself in the mirror, when we started on the board, our hair was a different color, and we had more of it. And I'm going to leave you with this. 4 words. Thank you. Well done.
Anyone else this evening? All right then, we'll continue on. Informational items, I believe is next.
Yes, we have 2 dates here for the upcoming holiday break, December 20th, 2019 through January 3rd, 2020. And the first day back for students that will be January 6th, 2020. We have our organizational meeting on Tuesday, January 7th, 2020 at 4 p.m. at Buckeye Board of Education Conference Room at 2044 Columbia Road, Medina. Superintendent's recommendations?
Yes.
We have item A, final reading of the following policies. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education consider the policies listed below as presented. Copies of the complete policies are attached to board members' agendas as Appendix C. Number 1, Policy 5113.02, School Choice Options. Number 2, Policy 5200, Attendance. Number 3, Policy 5230, Late Arrival and Early Dismissal. Number 4, Policy 5350, Student Mental Health and Suicide Prevention. Item 5, Policy 5430, Class Rank. Item 6, Policy 5460, Graduation Requirements. Policy number 7, Policy 7300, Disposition of Real Property, Personal Property. Item 8, Policy 7440.03, Small Unmanned Aircraft Systems. Number 9, Policy 8400, School Safety. Number 10, policy 8403, school resource officer. Number 11, policy 8462, student abuse and neglect. And item 12 is policy 8500, food services. Item B, agreement with TKO Entertainment. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve an agreement with TKO Entertainment for the entertainment equipment package for the Buckeye High School prom on May 8, 2020. A copy of the agreement will be held on file in the Treasurer's Office. A complete copy of the agreement is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix B.
All right, motion please. Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on these recommendations?
Question. Does the district still own a room? Or used to?
I am not aware of that.
Is they following a small amount?
Do you know who housed that? Mr. Church?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Flood, on the class rank, have you had any pushback on that, or has it been well received?
Very well received. We even had some students come down and ask some questions, and when I explained it, they're like, we love this, and we think honoring more students is what is needed.
Thank you.
Seeing no others, roll call please.
Mattson?
Yes.
Markey?
Yes.
Barto?
Yes.
Rumpelman?
Yes.
Item C, board consideration of proposed settlement. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the proposed settlement for cases 17-CIB 1189, 18-CIB-0126, and 18-CIB-0285, and 18-CIB-0126. The agreement is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix F.
A motion on this?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Barto?
Yes.
Markey?
Yes.
Dahl?
Yes.
Mattson? Rumpelman?
Yes. New business.
We have one item, the first reading of the 2020-21 school calendar. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education review the back of the 2020-21 school calendar as submitted. A copy of the calendar is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix E.
We'll move on to personnel items.
Item A, certified personnel. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following certified personnel items as presented. Number 1, resignation. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education accept the resignation of Rita Wogna, high school social studies teacher, effective June 1st, 2020. Ms. Wogna's resignation is for the purpose of retirement. Item B, certified substitutes. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the attached list of certified substitutes and tutors recommended by the ESC of Medina County to work on an as-needed basis for 2019-20 school year. A copy of the list is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix F. Item C, classified personnel. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following certified personnel items as presented. Number 1, continuing contract. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve a continuing contract for Pauliva C.C. Hunter, junior high cook, effective December 12, 2019. Item D, classified substitutes. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the attached list of classified substitutes to work on an as-needed basis for the 2019-20 school year as presented. And item E, supplemental contract approval. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following supplemental contracts pending certifications as well as resignations effective the 2019-20 school year as listed.
A motion on these personnel items, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
John? Second. Roll call.
Barto?
Yes.
Dahl?
Yes.
Barto?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Rumpelman?
Yes. And we're donation.
Number 16, recommend the Buckeye Board of Education accept and recognize the following donations to Buckeye local schools as presented. We have item A, a donation of $100 from the Valley City VFW for the Buckeye High School Food Pantry. And item B, a donation of various furniture from the Westfield Insurance Company for use throughout the Buckeye School District. And those items are a total of $1,860. parish has been doing in regards to working with Westville. I believe this is his third trip that has occurred, and our district has benefited greatly from his efforts, and a number of other staff members have helped to load and unload over the last couple months.
A motion accepting these donations? Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Hanson? Burton?
Yes.
Stoll?
Yes.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Yes. We do have a board recommendation. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education appoint Barbara Dunkelman as President Pro Tem to open the January 7th, 2020 Board of Education meeting. And board comments. Mr. Manson, we're going to start with you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for everybody that's still here. December meeting, I always say Merry Christmas. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all.
Anything, Mrs. Babarchi?
Absolutely. Also, Merry Christmas to everyone, Happy New Year, and I'd like to thank Mr. Manson for all of the years of service. I worked with Mr. Manson in various capacities, and Mr. Manson was a true mentor and friend throughout. Thank you very much.
Mr. Burko?
Well, let's see how to pick on Dennis and me. Dennis and I really got to know each other working with our former treasurer in the fact committee. And we were referred to as the guys that squeak on the walk. Dennis and I have had some, most of the time we come along on the same wavelength, at least. We understand each other. Don't always agree, but it's been very nice working with you, Dennis, over the years. And when he talks about pacing back and forth after a board meeting, up and down the driveway, most of the time he has his phone talking to me. Calms himself down or calls me back, one or the other. But Dennis, thank you very much for being here.
It's been a pleasure to be here with you. I always appreciate the guidance. Many times you talk about the ledge, after being passionate about something, and you're a calming voice, so thank you very much.
John?
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it, and Merry Christmas to all.
And I will finish out the comments for the evening. I haven't known Dennis all that long. At least it doesn't seem like it's been that long. But we have worked together well, and I know he has a passion for the students of Buckeye, and I think that is something that we all share on this board. And I still can't believe you've done it for 12 years. That is a long commitment to keep doing this kind of a job. So we just appreciate everything you've given to Buckeye. I know you said you could take me by the hand and show me some of the things you've been involved in. We probably should do that sometime. And just see all of the things that Dennis has worked on in this district. So thank you again for your service.
Mark, thank you so much for your leadership as board president, and he's very blessed to have you here with your background and service. Great pleasure, you're going to be here.
I also want to say, we all wish you the warmest holiday wishes. Hopefully that all of you who are employed by our school district get some time to rest and relax and enjoy your families. Oh yes, executive session, thank you. We do have a need to go into executive session for the purpose of employment. And I don't expect any action at the end of that time. Yeah, the only action might be another